Imagine falling asleep inside a train on your way home and it missed your stop. So now you're stuck in a foreign place filled with strange creatures who want to violate you. Your only option is to run, otherwise something terrible will happen. That is the premise of Mogeko Castle. Developed by Deep Sea Prisoner back in 2012 and then remade in 2014, Mogeko Castle tells the story of a high school girl named Yonaka Kurai who ends up in a strange place after she falls asleep on a train on the way home. To make things weirder, the place is filled with tiny cat-like creatures who have a strange obsession with high school girls and want to do perverted stuff to them. Disclaimer: the game contains gore and implied assault. It also treats serious topic, mainly sexual assault, as a joke. So if that kind of content upsets you, then you might not want to play this game. The game begins with a cat-like creature talking to someone lying on the bed, asking if they've taken their medicine. It then asks if they want to listen to a bedtime story but warns the person that it's going to be very amusing, sad, violent, and pervy. The cat creature then begins its story and the scene shifts to a girl named Yonaka Kurai inside a train. She mentioned that her brother is coming home today. Shortly after that dialogue, we're now in control of Yonaka. On her right side are two girls complaining about transportation, and on the floor we can see a single piece of red pepper. Now this is a pickup item. There's a lot of items you can pick up in this game, ranging from 18+ books and panties. For some reason, they offer no value to the game's progression besides having a funny description. No, you don't need 99 porn books or 99 of Yonaka's panties. There's no reason for you to collect them. Best to just ignore it. Anyway, there's nothing much to do here, so Yonaka goes to sleep. Some time passed and she awakened by the sound of the train announcer announcing that they've arrived at Mogeko Station. This surprises Yonaka because in all her life she never heard of Mogeko Station before. Confused by her situation, she goes out to investigate. I guess she never watched horror movies to know that the curious one is the first to die. As she's walking through the empty station, Yonaka feels like something is watching her. When she turns to look, for a split second she sees a shadowy figure appear before disappearing. This freaks her out, but she dismissed it as nothing but her imagination. She continues on and eventually reaches the forest area where she meets a cat-like creature. At first, she mistakes the creature for a stuffed toy, but when it speaks, Yonaka is surprised. The creature then summons an army of its kind, and here where things get uncomfortable. The creature proclaimed that it loves high school girls and wants to violate them. I'm toning down the description here, but just know that the dialogue itself is much more intense than what I said. And by intense, I mean it implies SA. Horrified by this, Yonaka runs away. She eventually managed to shake them off and spots a castle in the distance. After pondering it, Yonaka decides to go there as it would probably be her best shot at getting help and shelter instead of running around aimlessly outside. Plus, she thinks the cat creature might not even be there. I guess she missed the part where the castle has a literal giant cat statue on top. When she arrived at the castle gate, a choice box appeared asking the player if they want to enter the castle. Again, much like the item you collect in this game, it's pretty useless. Choices don't matter. But this one is different because if the player chooses to give up and find another way, Yonaka will be surrounded by the Mogekos and they proceed to gang her. Now, it wasn't shown in the game, thankfully, but there is a fade to black accompanied by sound which, to me, are so disturbing.
やもといとわの夢を
Shortly after that, we get the first bad ending. And yes, you heard me. First bad ending. This game has a lot of bad endings, which I don't think I'll be covering all of them since they contain implied rape and a lot of gore. However, someone did make a compilation video of them, so if you're curious, you can see it for yourself. Anyway, after Yonaka enters the castle, we're treated to a flashback of her and her brother Shinya. In out of breath, Yonaka screams for her brother to slow down as she can't catch up. Her brother apologized because he was deep in thought, so he unintentionally ignored her, but reassured her that he isn't worried about his safety since he has Yonaka by his side. Here we get to see that Yonaka and her brother are really close. A little too close if you ask me. The scene then shifts to the present day Yonaka, who is already inside the castle. While she's looking around, she sees the portrait of a Mogeko and finally realizes that going inside the castle might not be a good idea after all. But just as she was regretting her action, the door behind her locks and the Mogeko from before appeared in front of her. Yonaka screams in horror as she realizes she is now trapped with these creatures whose only goal is to get into her pants. Except she's not trapped. You see, the Mogekos are pretty dumb. So dumb that as soon as they corner her, they started arguing among themselves over who gets her first time. This gives Yonaka the chance to slip away and escape. Not only that, they put mealtime above everything else and will ignore Yonaka completely. Also, they love Prosecutor so much that they're willing to do anything for it, which is why it's funny when you take it from them. Yonaka wanders around but eventually circles back to the entrance. At this point, she's about to give up, but suddenly, she hears a voice telling her to go to the room next to the stairs. Curious, she decides to follow the voice and finds a Mogeko relaxing inside. The strange Mogeko introduced himself and reassured her that he won't attack her since he preferred drinking tea rather than chasing after a high school girl. He then tells Yonaka that if she wants to escape, she needs to go to the upper floor. The strange Mogeko hands her a large knife for protection and explains that the knife is special since it can kill a Mogeko in one single hit. What a dumb creature! What made him think that he's safe? I'm sorry, the temptation is too much. After murdering the innocent Mogeko, Yonaka continues on and we see her walking through an empty hall. She stops to look at a painting and wonders why are there so many of them in this castle. Suddenly, the Mogeko in the painting turns around and reveals himself to be none other than the Mogeko who chased her before. The Mogeko summons a horde of Mogekos and a chase scene happens where Yonaka successfully runs away from him. As she slams the door behind her, she can hear the perverted Mogeko threatening to do unspeakable things to her if they ever catch her. Disturbed by this, Yonaka immediately leaves the place through the door just across the room. The door takes her to a place where she met another friendly Mogeko called the Prosciutto Fairy. She heard about Yonaka and feels sorry for her, telling her that it was really unlucky for her to stumble into this castle. Thinking about what she can do to help her, the Prosciutto Fairy ponders for a while and finally decides to give her a key. Now, this isn't an ordinary key. Yonaka is given the master key that can unlock almost every locked door in this castle. After getting the item, Yonaka proceeds to the third floor. Things are going pretty well for her, but eventually she's caught by the Mogeko on this floor and thrown in jail. Here, she met a defect Mogeko who at first gives her the cold shoulder, but after learning that she met the Prosciutto Fairy, the defect Mogeko suddenly changed his attitude. He used the key to unlock the shackles, and as thanks for helping him escape, defect Mogeko promised to get her to the top floor and escape from this place. Arriving at the fourth floor, Yonaka noticed that a lot of Mogekos here seems dejected. It's like they've lost their will to live. Defect Mogeko explained that the Mogekos on this floor appear that way because of one single ruler. Now, this will be revealed later, so for now, all he can tell her is that the fourth floor is governed by a guardian named Mogeko. I know it's confusing, but her name is spelled Mogeko, with a hyphen between the ge and ko. According to him, she is known to be a ruthless dictator. Anyone she doesn't like will be crucified and tortured to death. Defect Mogeko sternly warns Yonaka that they need to avoid her at all costs. But what they don't realize is that Mogeko already knows about them. As they're nearing the elevator to the 5th floor, Mogeko unexpectedly appears with a group of Mogekos. A chase scene commences and both Yonaka and Defect Mogeko run for their lives. Luckily for them, they managed to lose Mogeko by hiding in one of the rooms on the 4th floor, but with their only way out of this floor blocked by Mogeko, Yonaka and Defect Mogeko are forced to find another way out. The two wanders around and eventually enter Mogeko's room where Defect Mogeko finds Hasu, the original 4th floor guardian. He tells them how Mogeko appeared one day and took his position as the 4th guardian. Hasu's followers were killed and he was crucified and tortured every day. Defect Mogeko is horrified after hearing all of this. He wants to help Hasu but he declines, saying that it's already too late for him. In his final breath, Hasu tells them about the secret passage below Mogeko's bed before dying. The rest of the journey on the 5th floor goes without a hitch, but Defect Mogeko knows that Mogeko won't let them go that easily. So before proceeding to the 6th floor, he goes to the Mogeko hospital located on the same floor. Why the hospital? Well, apparently on top of functioning like a real hospital, they also have weaponry stocked on the 3rd floor. Yonaka asks why they need to go to such length, and that's where Defect Mogeko explained that besides Mogeko, there's another entity they need to watch out for, a man-eating monster residing on the 5th floor. Now, remember earlier when they arrived at the 4th floor, Defect Mogeko explained a little bit about the Guardians? Well, on their way back to the 6th floor entrance, Defect Mogeko explains the origins of the Guardian. Apparently, the Guardians were created because of a single lonely Mogeko. After becoming king, he felt the castle was too empty, so he created 7 special Mogeko and placed them on each floor. Hearing all of this, Yonaka wonders who this king is. Defect Mogeko answered her by telling her the name of this king. The king is called King Mogeko. Honestly, at this point, I'm not even surprised anymore. As they were nearing the entrance to the 6th floor, Mogeko appears once again, this time with the man-eating creatures that Defect Mogeko talked about earlier. Mogeko excitedly tells them that she has released the man-eating creatures specifically for them. She then orders it to kill both of them, but Defect Mogeko came prepared. He pulls out the rocket launcher and shoots at the creature. Now, it should have killed the creature, except it doesn't because Mogeko has an ability to create a barrier. Horrified, the two run away as fast as they can, but no matter where they run, there's no way out. Mogeko has sealed up every exit. Fortunately, just as they were about to be killed, a voice calls out to them. The voice belongs to the 5th floor guardian named Mofuru, who led them into a hidden room to hide from Mogeko and the man-eating monster. After catching up with Defect Mogeko, Mofuru guides them to the 6th floor. On the 6th floor, Defect Mogeko suggests they go to the library because there's a guardian there that can take them straight to the 7th floor. Yonaka agrees with that decision, but when they got there, instead of going into the library, they were shocked to find out that they've been teleported directly in front of the king. The king welcomes Yonaka and starts being overly weird. Defect Mogeko steps in to protect her. He demands to know what he did to the library, to which the king just laughs it off and tells him that he destroyed the place. The king then orders his subject to kill Defect Mogeko and capture Yonaka, but unexpectedly, Defect Mogeko pulls out another rocket launcher. It seems like he has a spare just in case the first one didn't work out. He then shoots the king with it and takes Yonaka away. The two ran as fast as they can, avoiding any Mogekos along the way, and eventually stumbles upon a hidden area. Defect Mogeko realized that this is the library. He quickly brings Yonaka inside where they meet Mogekoko, the guardian of the 6th floor. The two have a brief conversation where Defect Mogeko learned that the king destroyed the library because he wanted to prevent Yonaka from escaping. Luckily, Mogekoko managed to teleport the library to a safe place just before it was destroyed. After talking a bit more, Mogekoko uses warp ability to bring them to the 7th floor, but something goes horribly wrong. The warp fails and Mogekoko was badly injured. He warns them that the warp failed because the king somehow interfered. He then urged them to run as he sensed the king is getting closer. Without wasting any time, both Yonaka and Defect Mogeko run away. As they're nearing the door that will take them to the 7th floor, a gunshot is heard and Defect Mogeko slumps down, blood gushing out from his chest. Turning around, it was none other than the king himself. The king ordered them to stop and tells Defect Mogeko that everything he did was useless. It's revealed here that Defect Mogeko was a being that the king created in his own image. He then demanded he hand over Yonaka, but Defect Mogeko has one more trick up his paws. He throws a can of tear gas which make the king cry and use that opportunity to run away, but they didn't get far. While hiding from the king, Defect Mogeko confesses about his past and tells Yonaka everything about himself, how he was created and how he opposed the king because his rule were getting out of hand, and how he ended up in jail because of it. Sensing that his time is up, he tells Yonaka to run away to the 7th floor while he distracts the king. Yonaka refuses at first, but Defect Mogeko insists on her running away on her own since he knows he can't go anymore. With a heavy heart, Yonaka agrees to the plan. We then see Defect Mogeko saying his goodbye and confronted the king. A fierce battle commenced between the two, and for a while it seems like Defect Mogeko is winning. That is, until the king revealed his true form, a form that even Defect Mogeko has never seen before. Using this form, he swiftly defeats him and takes him to the garden to be executed. Yonaka can only watch as the king announced the punishment, death by burning. When everything calms down, she makes her way to the 7th floor and finally exits Mogeko land. Back in the real world, Yonaka wakes up inside a bus and wonders if everything was a dream. Just as she was about to accept that, she sees her bloody left hand, proving that everything was real. After a while, the bus stopped and she gets off. Reaching home, Yonaka's house is eerily quiet for a reason. When Yonaka opens the door to the living room, she's met with a gruesome scene. Sick to her stomach, she runs away to the bus stop. Conveniently, a bus is waiting for her there and took her back to Mogeko Land. King Mogeko is happy that she came back, but Yonaka is visibly frustrated. Not only is she afraid of what happened back there, but she's also tired of the constant running and how annoying this king is with his goofy ass smile. This time, she fights back. In the most unexpected way possible, Yonaka attacks and beats up King Mogeko, completely different from her usual self at the beginning. After beating up King Mogeko, Yonaka proceeds to the 7th floor. Upon arriving there, she attacks Mogeko and kills her. King Mogeko, who appears not long after that, also met the same fate as her. At this point, Yonaka has lost all her reasoning. She cuts off King Mogeko's head and then takes his scalp and wears it. The crowd of Mogekos are stunned when they see this, but unknown to Yonaka, she had inadvertently called upon Prosecutor God, who then takes over her body and uses it to lead the Mogekos. The game then ends with Yonaka becoming the new god of Mogeko Land. But what if she doesn't want to become the new god of this land? What if she accepted her fate back then? Will the outcome change? Well, apparently it does, but it's not as pleasant as we expected it. Continuing right outside the door on the 7th floor, Yonaka is given a choice this time. Go on the path of paradise or go on the path of falsehood. The first one is paradise, so this time she chooses the path of falsehood. She's then teleported back to her home and confronts her brother. This time, however, Yonaka decides not to run away and instead decides to die by his arm. But something unexpected happened. You see, Yonaka's plan was to fake stab him and then Shinya will kill her like he intended to in the first place. But unexpectedly, Shinya didn't dodge the knife, but instead he let it pierce him. Yonaka is shocked to see that her brother let the knife through. In his final moment, Shinya apologizes for what he did and tells her not to blame herself too much, as he wanted this to happen. The game then fades to black and shifts to the Mogeko we saw earlier at the start of the game, talking to the person on the bed. It's revealed here that the person on the bed is none other than Yonaka herself, and the Mogeko that's talking to her is King Mogeko himself. It then ends with King Mogeko showing his true disgusting form while telling her the unpleasant things that he will do to her while she's in bed. So, what exactly happened in Mogeko Castle? Is it all in her head? Was it fake? Or something else? Well, to understand that, you need to know what is the overall theme of this game. Mogeko Castle is about Yonaka's loss of innocence, incest, and various implied sexual assault that she had experienced. It's important to note here that Mogeko Castle does not exist. This place was a manifestation inside Yonaka's mind, which makes sense when it was revealed at the end of the game that the person we see at the start was Yonaka herself. This is where it connects with the whole manifestation inside Yonaka's mind. But that would mean Yonaka was already sick from the start and the whole game was just us reliving through her life, right? Correct. This is where things get confusing. To understand how she got into that situation, you need to know the backstory. Yonaka Kurai and her brother Shinya used to live together away from their parents for unknown reason. Yonaka was fine with this because ever since she was a kid, she loved her brother, so she didn't mind staying with him. They were happy for a period of time, but then something happened to her brother. For unknown reason, he developed a split personality, and this other personality is absolutely evil to the point where it overtook Shinya's true self. That's why at the end of the game, Yonaka said, "Brother, you're back," implying that the old Shinya had returned. Anyway, Yonaka's parent probably noticed Shinya's increasing violent behavior and Yonaka's love that goes beyond a normal sibling, so they decide to separate them. We don't know what they did, but we can assume that the parents might have sent Shinya to a boarding school. However, this didn't do anything though, as it made Yonaka love her brother even more. On the day the game takes place, Shinya comes home for the holiday with one purpose in mind: to kill their parents. Yonaka, torn between her love for her brother and the knowledge that he's going to murder their parents, purposely falls asleep on the train just to have an excuse to come home late because she knew what Shinya will do. When she got home, she discovered Shinya in the living room, all bloodied with a knife in his hand. He killed their parents. Yonaka was initially afraid of him and ran away, but during her ride in the bus, she realized that nothing will be resolved if she kept running. So she decided to accept her fate and die together with her beloved brother. But things didn't go as planned. When Yonaka stabbed him with a knife, she expected Shinya to dodge it and kill her like he wanted to in the first place, but instead, Shinya just stood there and let the knife pierce him. As his life slowly fades, Shinya's old personality returns. He thanked her for killing him and told her that this is what he wanted all this time. But how does this tie to Mogeko Castle? Well, here's the thing. Like I mentioned earlier, Mogeko Castle does not exist. At least, not in the real world. You see, Mogeko Castle is nothing more than a figment of Yonaka's imagination. It was created by Yonaka to cope with the traumatic event that happened in her life. One thing you have to know about Yonaka is that she is a quiet girl, which makes her the target of perverted people. It was already stressful for her to endure those kind of treatment. Now, add the death of her brother to the mix, and it caused her a complete mental breakdown, and she was hospitalized as a result. In a way, you can say that Mogeko Castle represents the hospital, but the institute was horrible and Yonaka ended up worse than what she started. The Mogekos represent how she sees people who looked at her with lust, which makes it worse when you think about it because several bad endings of this game imply that she was raped or worse. But still, not all Mogekos are bad. Some were friendly and nice, which means that she does know how to differentiate people from good and bad. As for the 7 special Mogekos, to me, I think they represent certain people who she met and also her inner personality. Somewhat strange Mogeko could be a random stranger who offered her help or advice. Prosciutto Fairy could be a mother figure, someone that she looked up to when she was separated from her brother. Hatsu could be a religious group that she might have been a part of during her separation from her brother. It must have had a huge impact on her since all the Mogekos we see in this game worship a godlike being called Prosciutto. Mofuru could be an emotional pet that she owns in order to cope with her separation. Mogekoko could be a hobby of learning to cook for her loved one. Blood Spirit Mogeko could be a representation of her shyness or loss of innocence. The reason for that was because he was the only Mogeko that is red and bloody. But if we wanted to get darker, then this Mogeko represents her losing virginity through, Nega Mogeko or Defect Mogeko could be a representation of her willpower and determination, and Mogeko, the only humanoid Mogeko, represents Yonaka's suppressed violent tendency and insanity. Finally, King Mogeko represents her caretaker at the hospital. Now, with all of this information, I suddenly realized something horrifying. In the game, we can see that King Mogeko was a perverted, lustful individual, and in the second ending, it ended with King Mogeko telling Yonaka that he will take advantage of her by doing something while she's asleep. What if Yonaka was aware of it but couldn't do anything? She can only watch as the caretaker did something to her. Traumatized by all of this and with everything that's been going on inside her life, she created Mogeko Castle, a place where she can escape reality and not think about the bad things. Only it didn't work and the trauma followed her into that place. When you think about it, this game is pretty tragic. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's good to be back making RPG Maker videos again. I forgot that the more simple the game is, the more terrifying it is. Again, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoy my videos, don't forget to subscribe so you get to see more content like this. Like the video so I know you enjoy this. Check out my previous video if you haven't yet and become a member to support the channel and get more interesting stuff on this channel in the future. That's all from me. See you.